Welcome to another Gadgetzan card review. It's been about another week since the last video I released, and a bunch more cards have been revealed, so without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, first up we have the Hunter Legendary. It's called Knuckles. It's a 5-mana 3/7 beast that says, after this attacks a minion, it also hits the enemy hero. A little like Trample, sort of, in Magic the Gathering, where the damage rolls over, but I mean that's a little different mechanic. This just deals straight up whatever the attack damage is to the hero as well. It's basically 5/5 worth of stats for 5 mana, which isn't, you know, it's not premium stats for a 5-drop. Obviously its current attack isn't great. It is a beast, so that's good, and it's got a lot of health, so that's good too. That'll help it stay on the board. I mean, and you can use it instead of just hitting face to remove things and hit face, so that's always cool. I like the design of the card. I think it's cool. It's hard to say whether it's gonna make it into a deck or not. It'll definitely be experimented with. I think it's as close to Hunter Legendary that'll be playable as they've done so far. I really thought the Old Gods Legendary Princess Hoo-Hoo run was gonna see some play, but never really did. So hopefully this one will. It always sucks when none of the class legendaries get played. Yeah, and with all the buffs that you know, this set has put out so far, and that the grimy goons have available to them, this should be able to be buffed up before you play it on turn 5, which is another sort of good thing about the card, is that Hunter typically doesn't have a super solid 5-drop play. You know, they've been running the Stranglethorn Tiger, or in some cases the Tundra Rhino. Maybe this could be added to the deck. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I like the design. I think it's kind of cool, and it's another ape card. So there's that. Okay, moving on. Staying with the grimy goons for a moment. Another Paladin card is a Grimscale Chum. 1 mana 2/1 that has a Battlecry of give a random Murloc in your hand +1/+1. So Paladin, you know, they've been getting a lot of cards that are sort of lending themselves to be a sort of aggressive, fast aggro decks, as well as buffing things. And so this is in line with buffing. However, it specifically only buffs Murlocs in your hand. So I don't know, maybe there'll be enough Murlocs in this set that'll be good enough to make a Paladin Murloc deck. And that'll be cool and viable. I don't know, maybe. It always seems like the Murloc theme is just, they don't want to push it enough to make it actually viable, because it'll probably be overpowered at that point. I mean, it's a 1 mana 2/1. Those are typically good cards. And it has a Battlecry effect. And it's not terrible for an aggressive type of deck. One more grimy goon card here. Technically, it's a neutral card, but it's the faction legendary, I guess, if you will. The grimy goon faction legendary, called Don Honcho. 7 mana 5/6 minion, so fairly poor stats for a 7-drop, but it has a Battlecry of give a random minion in your hand +5/+5. I'm not sure about this card. Honestly, I've heard some other people's thoughts on it. It just seems too slow, honestly. You have to have a minion in your hand, right? And granted, there's some combos out there that maybe would work, you know, that you make sure you can get it on like a specific minion in your hand or whatever, but you know, if you held on to Doppelgangster and then played this card and made sure you comboed it and got the buff onto Doppelgangster, so it was a 7/7, and then you could play Doppelgangster for 5 mana, and then you have 3 7/7s on the board the next turn. I mean, that's pretty good, but it really seems entirely too slow to me, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this card at all. Other people are saying it's an amazing card, you know? I mean, you're getting 10, 11 worth of stats for 7 mana, but it's so slow. And Hearthstone, I mean, as much as a lot of people want it to be a more value-based game at this point, more, you know, control-oriented, longer sort of gameplay, like, it just never lends itself to doing that. It seems like every set that comes out that seems like it could be a slower control type of meta, you know, a lot of those control decks will come out, but then there's always the counters, you know, which is good. There needs to be counters to really good decks like that, but it always seems toward the end of a meta that just the faster decks always win out. That's just how Hearthstone is. Tempo is almost always king over value. I mean, not always, obviously, but the large scale of things it is. So I'm not sure. We'll have to see about Don Honcho. So this week they've been announcing Cabal cards. So we'll start with the mage cards here. And we have a Cabal Lackey, which is a 1-mana 2/1, which, you know, 1-mana 2/1 stats are typically decent for aggressive type of decks, but has a Battlecry of the next secret you play this turn costs 0. So basically, the exact same ability as Kirin Mage, which Kirin Mage is a 3/4/3, a 3-mana 4/3 minion that does the exact same thing. And doesn't see play. It's too slow. The value you get out of it isn't good enough. So yeah, I did experiment with it after Standard was introduced, once Mad Scientist left, and it definitely was not great. So secrets aren't even being run anymore in like Tempo Mage decks because Mad Scientist is gone. But that being said, this is a 1-mana card. That's two whole mana difference. So maybe this will be enough to put secrets back into a Tempo Mage style deck. Because look, like, so you still need a secret in your hand as well as this card to make this work. Like this text does not say Battlecry, the next secret you play costs 0. If it did, then it'd be great. It still wouldn't be as good as Mad Scientist, because the great thing about Mad Scientist is it gets that card out of your deck. Like once Mad Scientist dies, Death Rattles pulls the card out of your deck and puts it into play. So it's thinning your deck down to get to better cards, so you're not drawing dead cards. Whereas this card, even if it did say the next secret you play costs 0, it still wouldn't be as good as Mad Scientist. And that's how broken Mad Scientist was. So you still have to have a secret in your hand the turn you play the Cabal Lackey, which means you still have to put it in your deck and draw it along with this card. So the 2-mana difference, I'm not sure. Maybe it'll make a difference, maybe it won't. I really don't know. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. Alright, next card, we have another mage secret, the first mage secret in quite a while. It's called Potion of Polymorph. 3 mana, obviously all mage secrets are 3 mana. And it says, after your opponent plays a minion, transform it into a 1/1 sheep. So basically it's a polymorph effect in a secret form. And polymorph, I mean, it's 4 mana, it's slow, it's kind of clunky in that way. But in terms of removal, I mean, it's definitely up there with Hex. Obviously Hex is a little faster and slightly better because it doesn't make a minion that can attack you. It makes a 0/1 toad or frog, where this makes a 1/1 sheep. But it's still a really good removal because it's not just, you're not killing off the minion, you know, you're transforming it. So, you know, all cards that interact with that card type, such as like a Death Rattle with N'Zoth, like that card doesn't come back anymore. Same thing with like Doomcaller and Cthulhu. If you polymorph a Cthulhu, there's no more Cthulhu. You can't Doomcaller it back. So it's really powerful, but since this secret is in the game now, sort of like Mirror Entity, that people are gonna play around it by trying to throw cheap, relatively low value minions into it, you know. But I mean, it still makes them play their turn very ineffectively. So, I mean, that's kind of the idea of secrets as a whole, is to just make your opponent play their turn differently than they wanted to. So yeah, I think it's a cool secret. I think it'll definitely see some play. Whether it stands up to the test of time, you know, who knows? But I think it's a solid secret for sure. And now we've got another rare mage card, 6 mana 5/5 called Cabal Crystal Runner, and this says, costs 2 less for each secret you've played this game. So all of these 3 cards definitely synergize together, and it looks like Blizzard's definitely wanting Mage to play secrets again, other than just Reno type decks or Freeze Mage decks. So 2 less for each secret you've played this game. So base stat line is pretty bad for the mana cost. But so even if you play 1 secret, then we're playing a 4 mana 5/5, and that's pretty good. If you play 2 secrets, Then we're playing a 2-mana 5/5. I'm not. This is the only thing about this card. Like in theory, it seems like a really good card. On the face of it, this card is reminiscent of the thing from below that Shaman's got. Doesn't have taunt, so it's not quite as powerful in that circumstance, and it's not based off your hero power or doing something that your class wants to do almost every game you play. Because obviously you're not always playing secrets in a mage deck, but so this definitely incentivizes it. So you could have a large minion or multiple large minions come out late game, and just a huge board presence. I just don't know really what kind of deck this fits in. I guess maybe kind of a control deck, right? A control mage deck, but then more than likely you're going to be playing Reno in that deck, and that means you're only going to have one of these in the deck, which maybe that's okay. But see, like for a tempo mage, maybe this will work too. I don't know. It's just usually you're more spell heavy in those type of decks, and you're not wanting to play minions. This is why I didn't like Faceless Summoner that much, and I really don't play decks with Faceless Summoner in it. It's just not the like stuff that mage as a class wants to do. Like not play these bigger minions, I guess. I don't know. So I'm not sure about the card. As I'm not sure about a lot of cards. Now on to the Mage Legendary. Ink Master Solia. 7 mana 5/5. So more garbage stats, but it has a battle cry of if your deck has no duplicates, the next spell you cast this turn costs 0. Wow. That's huge. I think it's a really cool card. I honestly think that the whole no duplicates thing kind of sucks. I mean, obviously it sucks, but like I really wish they would have just made this card without that stipulation. Maybe that's OP. I don't know. But I think that would have been way cooler. And so they're starting to make a lot of these Reno-esque cards where you only run one-ofs in the deck. To get the ability of the card, unless they're going to be making other cards with like huge effects like Reno. I just don't know that this is going to last past Reno, because like Reno holds this stuff together, right? Like without that ability to completely heal again, I don't know that like just building a deck around this card, I don't know that that's really viable. So I really do like the ability of this card. I just sort of wish it didn't have that limitation to it. This is like really the first playable mage legendary since Antonidas. So that's exciting. I'm excited about that. On turn 7, you can play any other spell in your hand if you wanted to play this 5/5 minion plus a Pyroblast or something crazy, or Kazakus, make that 10 mana spell, play it on turn 7 for free, along with a 5/5. So this is great. This is an amazing card. It'll be really cool. It'll be played a lot, I'm sure, in all kinds of Reno-esque mage decks. So that's definitely going to be a thing, and I think it'll be actually viable, which is kind of cool. I haven't really played too many of those decks. Every time I tried playing them, it just didn't seem consistent enough. So really cool legendary. All right, let's move on to Warlock. So a few Warlock cards have been announced this week. And the first one we have is called Abyssal Enforcer, another 7 mana card. This is a 7 mana 6/6, which the stats aren't great, but once we divulge the Battlecry, you won't care about that anymore. Battlecry, deal 3 damage to all other characters. Holy crap. This is a built-in Hellfire. So this is a Dread Infernal with 1 more mana cost to it that has a Hellfire built in instead of dealing 1 damage to everything. Really, really solid card, especially in like a Reno lock deck. Like this is something that Reno lock has needed to make that deck just more consistent. Just having more board clears and things, plus this big body on top of it. Like that's a solid 7-drop. This is a great card. Even in Arena, this is going to be a good card. Holy crap! Great card all around. Like one of the best cards in the set so far. So next we have a 4 mana 4/2 Murloc called Sea Devil Stinger, and it has the battle cry of the next Murloc you play this turn cost health instead of mana. So it's sort of a Cho'Gall effect with a Murloc instead of a spell. I don't know. I don't really see Warlock wanting to play a bunch of Murlocs in the deck. I don't know, there's not a whole lot I can say about this other than I don't think it's good. I don't see a reason why Warlock wants to play Murlocs, so unless there's other cards that, you know, we obviously don't know about yet that will really synergize with this, it's not that good. So moving on. We have 2 more rare cards, 2 spells. So we have a 3-mana spell called Blood Fury Potion. Give a minion +3 attack. If it's a demon, also give it +3 health. So there's this whole potion theme with the Cabal going on, as we can see. Mage had some potions, now Warlock's getting some potions, and Priest had potions as well. So I don't know about this card. It doesn't seem great. It's definitely not exciting. I don't know why Demon Fire, it just isn't better, honestly. More versatile. You know, Demon Fire, you can buff your demon +2/+2 for 2 mana, or you can deal 2 damage to an enemy minion. Granted, you can give this buff to any minion you have on the board, and it'll just be +3 attack buff. I don't know where you're gonna fit this into a zoo deck that's gonna, like, that's the only place it fits, right? You're not putting this into a control deck, and all the 3-drops that zoo has right now are just too valuable to replace with this, I think. So I don't think it's good. It could be okay if you draft the right kind of deck in Arena. If you get a lot of demons, it could be okay in Arena. So our next potion is a 6-mana potion called Vellfire Potion, and this one's a doozy. Deal 5 damage to all characters. Wow, another board clear for Warlock. Maybe not as good as Dragonfire Potion, but this still will be in control decks for sure. It's a great card. Not much else to say about it other than that. It looks like Blizzard's not holding back on the AoE in this set. On to the neutral cards. Up first we have Backstreet Leper, 3-mana 3/1 with a death rattle that says deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. So a much more expensive, uninteresting Leper Gnome. It's a bad card. That's all there is to say about it. 3/1 stats aren't good, especially for 3 mana. The death rattle is really just insignificant. Maybe this can be thrown in some kind of crazy super aggressive deck or something. I don't know. I don't think so though. I think it's too slow. Next card, Bomb Squad, 5-mana 2/2, atrocious stats. But it has a battle cry of deal 5 damage to an enemy minion. So you get to target the minion. It's not random. That's good. So that's better than Bomb Lobber. But it also has a death rattle of deal 5 damage to your hero. I don't think it'll see constructed play unless there are other cards that allow you to actually give your minions to your opponent. Then that'll be crazy. I mean, the obvious sort of combo with this card would be Sylvanas, right? They play Sylvanas, you play this, kill their Sylvanas, make them steal this, and yeah, and then you kill it and deal 5 damage to your hero on top. So whatever. And it's easier to kill since it's a 2/2, right? Now maybe you could put it in one of the buff decks and buff it up and make it bigger than a 2/2, but I don't think that's gonna be what this card's purpose is most of the time. In Arena, I think it'd actually be decent. I mean, Bomb Lobber's a really good card in Arena, and that's a 5-mana 3/3 that deals 4 random damage to an enemy minion, right? This is targeted and it's 5 damage. That's really good. I think this actually will be a decent card in Arena. Because honestly, more often than not, the 5 damage to your face probably isn't going to matter that much. The tempo on the board is going to matter more. Unfortunately, if this is your turn 5 and they have 2 minions on the board already, like, you can't be too behind and have this card be beneficial, I think, in Arena. But it can be a comeback card still. Moving on, we have another tri-class card called Cabal Chemist. Obviously, this is a Cabal card. It's in the name. So only Priest, Mage, and Warlock can use it. It's a 4-mana 3/3 with a battle cry of add a random potion to your hand. Obviously, like I said before, there's this whole potion theme with the Cabal, and this just sort of is keeping in line with that. And from what I've heard, this card actually can get you any potion, any of the potions from, it's not just specific to the class that you're playing. So if you play this in a mage deck, you are not just gonna get mage potions from it. You can get the potions from any of the classes that have potions. So that's cool. Will it be used though? Are potions that powerful? Well, I don't know that we've seen all the potions yet, so it's hard to say. I don't know. Alright, next card is a neutral legendary, 6 mana 4/3. Again, atrocious stats. A lot of really bad stat lines in this set so far. It's called Madame Goya, and she has a battle cry of choose a friendly minion, swap it with a minion in your deck. So this has sort of been compared to Barnes, sort of, in that pulling minions out of your deck, kind of, except Barnes was a copy and it was a 1/1 copy. But this actually pulls a random minion out of your deck and onto the board. But since it swaps it, it also puts the minion on the board into your deck. So it doesn't thin your deck at all. It actually makes, well, I would think most of the time when you play this, it's going to make your deck worse that way. But the tempo gain, most of the time, is going to be worth it. However, I don't know if this mana cost and this stat line is really going to make this card viable. And the reason why is it's a random, I mean, it doesn't say, on the surface it actually doesn't specify, which is another pet peeve I really have with Blizzard and Hearthstone in general, is that they're not specific with the wording in their cards, and it really infuriates me because I don't know how they work until they're played. Whereas a game like Magic the Gathering, they are very specific on the card text as to what it does. Like, honestly, if I just read this says choose a friendly minion, swap it with a minion in your deck. Honestly, just reading that baseline, that says I get to choose a minion in my deck that I swap it with. I don't believe that's how it actually works. I think it's a random minion in the deck, which is much worse. A lot of people thought Barnes was going to be like just way overpowered. I didn't think it was going to be overpowered. I thought it was going to be a really good card. And it is a good card. It can be a good card. I mean, it's decent tempo on turn 4 most of the time. A lot of people thought it was going to be super overpowered, but the whole random minion thing it's a big deal. Like, it's a random minion. You don't get to pick what it is every time. If you did, then yeah, it would be super overpowered. I think if you did actually get to pick what minion you swapped it with, this would be an absolute played card in a lot of decks. But you don't. So I don't think it'll actually be that viable. I think most of the time what you're looking for to hit with this card is a minion that has a good ability, like a good Battlecry ability that you've played, maybe traded with a minion or two and is damaged, so then you put it back in your deck and you get a new minion out, and hopefully it's a minion with an ability, like a running ability or a death rattle ability that you get onto the board. I mean, that's like the ultimate value, right? Or you want to target a card, like a token card that you've made, or a creature that's been polymorphed or hexed or something. Those are the kind of things you're looking to swap with this card to get the most value out of it. But I don't actually think I'll see that much play. The stat line is, if it was less expensive, it might be, but I think that's going to be the biggest hurdle, is this 6 mana cost. On the surface, it's a cool design. I do wish it was like a targeted minion in your deck, but I can understand how that would be maybe too powerful. So the next 3 neutral cards all have the same sort of ability, and spoiler, they're all bad. I'll say some other things about them too, but first up we have a common 4 mana 4/4 called Tanaris Hog Chopper. It has a battle cry of, if your opponent's hand is empty, gain charge. So this is the theme with all these next cards. They're conditional charge minions, basically. They're all just bad, really. This isn't going to happen that often unless you're just playing in a meta where everybody's playing super aggro decks and they're dumping their hands and they don't have, you know, cards to refill their hands with. This really rarely happens that much. The only time this might be okay, really, is in Arena, in the late game, when you're both top decking stuff. Maybe that's probably the best application for this card. 4 mana for 4/4 stats is not good. Like, just baseline, if you have to play it without the charge, it's just not good. You're not ever going to see this in Constructed. Alright, so moving on, we have the 5 mana 5/5 Spiked Hog Rider. Battlecry, if an enemy minion has taunt, gain charge. So a lot of people seem to think that this one's probably the most, or the best one out of the three, from what I've heard. I sort of disagree because, I mean, at the end of the day, if they have a taunt minion, more than likely you are going to have to run this into it, which probably means it's gonna die. I mean, they could have like a small taunt minion up or whatever, but a lot of times, you know, you're thinking of like Thing from Below or something like that, and if you don't already have something on the board to kill off the taunt minion, then you're running this into it and it's probably gonna die. So why not just run a removal spell or something? Again, it's conditional, 5 mana 5/5 without charge. It's just a 5 mana 5/5 nothing minion. Alright, moving on to the next card is an epic 6 mana 6/6 Leather-clad Hog Leader. Battlecry, if your opponent has 6 or more cards in hand, gain charge. So this is sort of targeted against control decks. The first one is supposed to be targeted against aggressive decks. But they're all conditional, all based on different things. You're not even gonna play. You're not gonna play all these in the same deck, even if you did play them in any deck. But they're just all bad. And so here's something else, and this is just opinion, my opinion, whatever. I don't really like the whole theme with the Hog Riders. It doesn't really seem to make any sense with the whole rest of the set. I mean, I guess they're kind of like a gang or whatever, right? But I thought there were supposed to be like 3 factions, right? Where does this come into play? I don't know, it doesn't make sense. Another little thing is I really think the card art is cartoony and cheesy and stupid. I don't like it. I know a lot of people don't care about card art, and I know Hearthstone is kind of more cartoony or whatever, but it's another reason why I'm waiting for Gwent to come out, because I do really like the card art in that game. It's more, I don't know, for lack of a better term, adult. I don't like anything about these cards. I hate them. I think they're all bad. Moving on, we have a 3 mana 4/3 called Toxic Sewer Ooze. Battlecry, remove 1 durability from your opponent's weapon. So this is a more expensive, beefier Blood Cell Corsair, sort of with reverse stat lines though, because it's got more attack than health. I'm not sure. I don't think this will be a tech card, honestly. Depends on how heavy the weapons are in the meta. I mean, Blood Cell Corsair is not played, right? Swamp Ooze is barely played right now. Harrison Jones is more played at the moment than anything else as far as weapon removal goes. Arena, you'll probably pick this sometimes. It's not a good card, really. Just today announced, I'm sure there'll be another card announced today that I won't get to because I'm recording this video beforehand. Priest Legendary, Raza the Chained, 5 mana 5/5 with Battlecry of, if your deck has no duplicates, your hero power costs 0 this game. I'm not sure what to say about that. So we really haven't seen a Reno Priest deck at all, but obviously this is very much wanting you to build a deck around that. Now, like I said before, maybe unsure if these new one-of decks would be viable without Reno. This one might be. This is a really powerful card. I mean, having your hero power cost 0 the whole game, that opens up a lot of, that opens so many options, especially with these new priest cards we're getting. I don't even know, man. Like, I just saw this card before I started this video and I was blown away by it. I'm still blown away by it. I think this card is huge. Priest is gonna be OP. Yeah, this is a crazy card. So I was thinking that it was sort of a passive power, like Prince Malchezaar, right? Like, you just have that card in your deck and this thing happens, right? Whereas this is an actual battle cry. So you actually have to play this card before your hero power costs 0. Well, that makes it more interesting. Maybe not as powerful as I was thinking it was. It's still a powerful card. Like, it's still really cool. Honestly, I'm glad that like some of these class legendaries in this set are actually going to be played, I think, and viable. Like I said before, it's always sad to me when the class legendaries aren't even good enough to play. So that's all I've got as far as the cards for today. Wow, I don't know. There's so many things with that priest legendary. it's just a good card. I don't know what else to say about it. So overall, so far, I'm a little disappointed because I'm not seeing any new mechanics. I mean, yes, there's the tri-class cards, but that's not really a mechanic. That's just saying, hey, this card is restricted to being played in certain classes, basically. Like, instead of being a neutral card that can be played in any class, this is now a neutral card that can only be played in certain classes. I think it would actually be even more interesting if they actually, these tri-class cards, once you put them in a deck, if they actually became a class card of that class, or were considered a class card of that class. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of effects that would take advantage of that, I guess, so it doesn't really matter. But it might be a future thing, you know, which could be a new mechanic, right? So say, kind of like the quest, where, you know, it says, the newer quest, say, play 50 mage spell, or 50 mage class cards, and then whatever it is, get 60 gold or whatever. So, like, maybe there's a spell that says this costs 1 less for every mage class card you've played this game, or something, you know, something along those lines. And then maybe these tri-class cards would be counted as class cards instead of neutral cards in that respect. In terms of actual new mechanics, like, there's not really any new mechanics. I mean, there's Kazakus, there's this Madame Goya thing. There's some different abilities, right? But they're all based on battle cries, which is not a new mechanic. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed so far, and it's looking like we're not gonna see any new actual mechanics to the game introduced in this set. If that is the case, Blizzard has to introduce a new mechanic in the next set, like the next year when Standard moves on and the old sets rotate out again, which will be LOE, Blackrock Mountain, and TGT. They have to have a new mechanic, or else this game is just gonna get so stale. Like, I'm not even joking. I'm already getting bored of it a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, you can give cards different text, but if they're all doing the same basic thing all the time, it's just the same game, just slightly different, you know? Magic the Gathering, at least, I mean, it's been a while since I've played, granted, but every new block, and even before they came out with the blocks, really, every new set had new game mechanics, and it, you know, helped keep the game fresh and playing differently than it used to. So it was always changing. But the last 3 sets, including this one, haven't really changed any actual game mechanics. And like I said, even this whole no duplicates in your deck sort of ability that Reno ushered in, like I said, I don't know if, I mean, they're interesting, and maybe the Raza the Chained will be one of them that will stick, and you can build decks around after Reno. But Reno is a crazy card, right? Reno is a reset on your health. But I don't know if you can build a card around Inkmaster Sol, or a deck around Inkmaster Solia without Reno in it. It just doesn't seem powerful enough. All right, well, anyway, I'm just rambling on now. So thanks for watching, and, you know, feel free to leave your thoughts and comments below. I'm happy to read them and converse with people on this stuff. Obviously, I don't know everything. All right, guys, later.